Hey everybody, welcome back to the Model Shop. Today's episode is all about lighting.
Hey everyone, this is Ben.
And Nora.
Welcome back to the Midwest Model Shop. So in today's episode on the Titanic, we're going to go ahead and address filling in the portholes. We've already gone ahead and drilled everything out, and that's all set and ready to go. But now we need to actually put in the glass. So what we're going to be using is some fiber optics, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about how we're going to light the inside of the ship, what LEDs that we used, and kind of the general plan right there.
But before we do that, a brief word about today's video sponsor. This company reached out, Ben Q reached out a while back, and Ben was not excited about doing a review. I, of course, was, and I was excited that it was lighting because that's a really big deal for me with crafting and doing my nails and so on and so forth. The box arrived. It was super nice and heavy duty and sturdy. He usually sets everything up around the house, but I tore into this thing and I had it up on my desk, put together and lit in about 3 minutes flat. It's really heavy and heavy duty, and you could have done surgery on my desktop. It was lit up so nice and bright, and I was sold on it. I loved it.
Yeah, the reason I wasn't excited about this piece right away was it cost $230. And right away I said, this is just too expensive for a lamp. And I asked BenQ, would you be willing to offer a discount coupon for everybody? And they said, no, unfortunately they can't do that, but they don't have problems selling it at this price point. And besides the fact that it actually is a phenomenal lamp, it's got heavy-duty aluminum arms. It weighs about 11 pounds. They figured out all the little problems where the joints are nice and tight so that when you go to move it and articulate it, you could just put it where you want and it does it for you. They got a clever little ball joint up here at the top.
And this actually swivels.
Yeah, it'll point it'll point this way at you if you want. I mean, you can really do whatever you want with this light, including changing the color. But when I was upset about the price, I still was like, man, that's a lot of money. And then I realized I have two studio lights over here that are $160 a piece. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lights just over here, LED lights above me that are $40 a piece. Very quickly, I've exceeded the price of this lamp. And at my old shop, if you guys recall on all of the Arizona videos, I was in a room that just had one light bulb in it, your middle bulb, and then I had a lamp that was in the middle of the desk that I used to light up my projects. And I'll show you a little lighting comparison right here. That lamp was extremely limiting and it cost $90. And I was really irritated about it because it just illuminated basically straight down right in front of me where I was working, and that was it.
This would have been perfect
for
that room.
Absolutely perfect, because I totally could have stretched the light out over the top of me, thrown light all over my entire workspace, and yeah, that would have solved my problem. So if you live in an apartment or you don't have the ability to throw in a bunch of lights in your office, you have a small desk, this is a really great lamp. It's universal, it's easy to move around. They have lots of options and accessories for it if you're interested. So the product link and descriptions are down below in the description of this video. Please feel free to go check them out. And if you're in for a reading lamp or you need a better light for your modeling space
Or crafting,
whatever
you do.
Yeah, we highly recommend this lamp. All right, with that being said, let's get into the build. All right, folks, here we are back in the model shop, and we're going to address the porthole situation. So Nora and I drilled out all of our portholes so that we can get the light going through the model, but I wanted to actually fill it in with some sort of glass. I didn't want there to be an actual open porthole, and the reason for that is when you put an LED behind an open porthole, you can develop a hot spot. Basically, when you're panning by, it'll just be blindingly bright, and we all know that that's not realistic. What I was going for or wanted was a nice even tone of light coming out of the porthole from any direction that's not overwhelming. So the way to do that is with fiber optics. And Vasilij Ristovic on Facebook had this wonderful post showing how he went and bought various size fiber optics and made them match the hole size and installed them in the ship. And I was like, that's a great idea, we're going to do that. The thing is that it could be muddy waters navigating through where to buy fiber optics that will work and are a good price. Fortunately, Stephen Bowman on Facebook also suggested going to Lighthouse Leds. And they're located in the United States, but the big thing is they're super, super affordable. I went and ordered 1 millimeter, 1.5, 2 millimeter, and 3 millimeter fiber optics from them, all in 10-foot lengths, and the total bill was, with shipping, was $14.60 US. So very affordable. This is kind of like what you get. I use the word fiber optic loosely because it's just plastic rod, but it still works the same. Out of the end, you'll get whatever light is shining through the opposite end. So what we did is I went ahead and made sure the holes were reamed out to the right size, and we installed our fiber optic ends. Now you do have to polish the end that is exposed to be nice and flat. Otherwise, it's going to look ugly, and you're not going to have your porthole shape that you're looking for. We did all that with the exception of the largest holes, the 3 millimeter holes. And the reason for that is I went and ordered this little photo etch detail set from Scale Warships. And basically, it includes the photo etch that corrects the opening for the largest windows. They're actually vertical rectangles, they're not round. That corrects it. And it includes some the glass windows in the back, so we'll be utilizing those. But if you don't have that, you'll need the 3 millimeter fiber optic. The last comment I wanted to make is this stuff from Lighthouse LED is the size that it says it is. The 3 millimeters mics out to 3 millimeters. This is a problem because here in the United States, I had trouble tracking down a 2 millimeter drill bit in a timely fashion that didn't cost a lot of money. I know, Nigel, you're probably laughing at me because you got a zillion 2 millimeter drill bits in your shop, I'm sure. But I ordered one. This one came in close. It mics out at 1.95 millimeters, which is good. Ream it out a little bit and you're good to go. It still provided a really tight fit. So you want to kind of sort that out, or plan ahead before you drill out your portholes with just using the right size bit in the first place. So yeah, that basically takes care of it. Let's go ahead and show you how we prep and install these things, and then we'll move on to the lighting situation, because we do have LED lights that we haven't really talked about yet that we'll dive into for illuminating the ship. So yeah, pressing on.
So for this portion, Ben's going to have me explain how we installed the 1 millimeter fiber optics into the smallest portholes. This is the easiest one, but I'm a better worker than I am an explainer, so bear with me. So again, the Lighthouse LEDs, this is what we started with, and seriously, this part couldn't be any easier, and we have like a little assembly line when we do it because there are a lot. So you just snip it, you take it and you snip it with your little snippers. And it's like, what is it, like a centimeter?
Yeah, 2 or 3 mils.
Okay. And you just take it super duper tiny like that. And then all you've got to do is slide it right into one of the portholes. Voila. Nice and bright. Okay, and to glue in the portholes, Ben has opted for this Micromark glue. You can also use canopy glue. Just make sure that you do it from the inside and that you don't get it on the outside, because I think it'll eat up your paint, right?
Yep.
We don't want that. All this work we did on the paint, we don't want to ruin that. So this is what we're using, and he just takes it and puts a little dab on the inside to glue the fiber optics in place.
And that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
So moving on to anything above 1 mil, and I'm going to talk about the 1.5 right now, and we have larger ones for the larger portholes. But what you got to do is, once you snip them, you have to buff that end off. And I'm going to show you how we achieved a really nice smooth finish. So I know you all talk about sanding sticks, and that's cute. Really what they are nail files. And I took out some nail buffers, okay, for buffing blocks is really what you call them. Now, when you go to look for buffing blocks, let's say you go on Amazon, you're going to type in buffing blocks and you're going to find these, and they will come in bulk, super duper cheap. Don't buy them. This is not what you want. This is the same surface all the way around. They come in all different colors, solid colors like this, and the solid colors all the way around indicates that it is the same surface all the way around. You don't want that. What you want is a 4-way nail buffer, okay? And I'll show you why. So the 4-way nail buffer, and I know everybody wants the grit number. I unfortunately cannot provide that. I even went out and bought new ones yesterday with the hopes that it would be on there, and it's not. So what the 4-way nail buffers provide is 4 different surfaces. So you've got a very coarse surface, a medium coarse, then you have a softer side that starts to really start smoothing, and then you have your polishing edge, and that's what you want, and it'll give you a fabulous, nice, smooth, shiny edge on your little fiber optic pieces. So these only cost me $4.99 for 2 of them, but again, you've got to find, it has to say 4-way, and it will absolutely have the surfaces that you need. And you just start out with the most coarse, then you go, actually I only used 3 surfaces I think when we did ours. I used the medium coarseness down to this smoothing finish and then the polishing, and it was perfect. So what's happening here is you can see that over and over we're using that same surface, and it's starting to tear into the buffing block. So what I needed to do was get some more anyway to have a nice smooth finish to work with, a nice surface to work with, and polish all these little pieces. And so you just want to cut yourself a length to work with. That's generally what I snip off of these big long pieces that come in these bags, and I just start polishing. And I flip it to the next surface and then to the smoothing surface, and then that's all done, and you snip that right off and you go on to the next one, and you do it over and over and over.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. All right, let's see how to do that.
This episode of Tales from the Titanic is a letter written by Wallace Hartley, the band leader who played with a group of musicians as the Titanic sank. It was written on the first day of the voyage. His mention of money refers to expected tips. Just a line to say we've got away all right. It's been a bit of a rush, but I am just getting a little settled. This is a fine ship, and there ought to be plenty of money on her. I've missed coming home very much, and it would have been nice to have seen you all, if only for an hour or 2, but I couldn't manage it. We have a fine band, and the boys seem very nice. I have had to buy some linen, and I sent my washing home today by post. I shall probably arrive home on the Sunday morning. We are due here on the Saturday. I'm glad Mother's foot is better. In 2013, this letter sold at auction for a reported $140,000.
Okay, here's all the glass portholes installed, or most of them anyway. And as you can see, we got our desired result. Nice glass, smooth finishes on the outside. There's varying degrees of light intensity coming through. They're not all the same. This is perfect. So now what I want to do is go ahead and talk about the LED lighting that we're going to do. This is just what it looks like with the lights off and a blank background. So let's go ahead and get some lights going. Okay, so now that we've gotten those installed, and just real quick, there are other ways to go about smoothing off the ends of those fiber optics, but there's thousands of them, and it takes a long time, and what we just showed you consolidates that method and kind of streamlines it. I was using sanding sticks and a bunch of buffing pads and all the traditional things. It was taking forever, and Nora came down and said, why don't you use these blocks? And sure enough, it streamlined the process. So that's our recommended way to go about doing the portholes. So that's why we shared it with you. Now for the lighting. So I picked up 2 boxes of these LED lights. I didn't even look at what came with the Titanic because I was concerned about making sure I could get the same repeatable thing over and over again. You can see that this is, I think, 3,000 lumens, and it's the warm white. And it actually ends up looking perfect, like incandescent light bulbs. So, but before we do that, I want to address up here, if Nora comes over, I want to talk about these portholes right along the top right here. I haven't filled them in yet. We want illumination all the way up here in the top. So one of the things that happens is when you put in your aft well deck, suddenly we're blocking a lot of the light from coming up here. So one of the solutions is you can go ahead and put LED lights right here that shine in this whole area, but that ends up, that's just a bunch of monkeying around and additional wiring you got to do. If you go back to your fiber optics and you get one and you leave it long, you polish the end and you just leave it like this. We'll tape it down or whatever so that it points down into the area where the illumination's at. the light will come back up here. So then when you put your poop deck on, you know, you're good to go. You don't have to stick additional lighting in there. You'll still get the light that you want. And you're going to have to run it, primarily this is the area that's the problem. These will have to come back down around the corner like this. And you can do that. And it's way easier to run this stuff, and it's inexpensive than it would be to put some LEDs up here and run the wires up here to connect it and do that. So that's what our plan is going to be. That's my suggestion. So now that we've talked about all that, let's bust out these lights, throw them in here, and show you what the ship looks like with the lights turned on. Yeah. Okay, here we are with the lights off. We just went ahead and threw the LED lights in there. They're not in any organized kind of pattern, but I wanted you to see the kind of glow that you can get and the even incandescence coming through. Now right here I want to stop and point out these holes right on here. Look how bright they are. Those are straight up holes still. They don't have the LED or the fiber optics installed in them yet. Stay focused, camera. But along here we do. It's just a real nice even tone of light, and there's some variation. And like I said, it's not too bright. We're not creating any kind of hot spots. Again, right here, I don't have lenses in there yet. I got a plan, and you can see that it gets really bright when you don't have anything installed. And moving back up here to the bow, it's nice. And I just, like I said, I just threw these LEDs in there. They're not laid out and organized yet. So this is something that we're really pleased with. I think it's given us the look that we want without it being overwhelming, and that's why we took the time to do all of this. And you can see in the back here there's less lights in the back, but we still are getting our reflection, our lighting that we want here. I'll move some more LEDs back here when I install this for real to balance out the illumination, but yeah, this is really good. So anyway, I think that just about wraps it all up. Hopefully you like that, and you can see the direction that we're going in here with the ship. Thank you all very much for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, but this isn't going to include you. Stop recording because this is actually really good.